Hi everyone, I'm Janvi, currently joining from Iowa City in America. Um, Here's where I'm doing my PhD in counseling psychology. And I want to say thank you all for 25,000 subscribers. It's amazing. I do my best to make as many videos as I can in, in the time slots that I have between academics and practicum and my job here. So, um, yeah, this is really exciting. Hi Shruti, you're the first message that I got here, and I was trying to connect also um, on my laptop so I can see comments better. It's great to see you all. In fact, I was thinking of doing something since it's 25,000 subscribers. I see a number of students here and I see so much potential in a lot of students. So I'm happy to know more about you and see if students are interested in pursuing further education and we can find ways where I can go live. How can I connect with people? Because currently in America you have to do like a 20-hour job during your PhD, which generally is within your department, but my department is pretty open to also going to other departments. So because that 20-hour job also funds your education throughout the year. So it funds your academics, so it pays for your tuition and it gives you a stipend so you can live with that money. And basically you can live without having to spend your own money, because PhD is a long time, and obviously a lot of people who already go for PhD have some skills and they're um, capable of being teaching assistants or other places. So currently my assistantship is with a sciences academy in this university, and I help students with career guidance, and especially students who want to pursue higher education and PhD. And I see there's so much resources here in the US for students. So many options. Yesterday there was like a fair, uh, yeah, a research like a research fair where students, undergraduate students who work through the summer in different laboratories, present their research findings and what their lab is, and basically what they did in the lab. And there was so many different fields, and there are so many laboratories. Oh my god, it's a lot of laboratories, a lot of options that students have. And I felt like, wow, we don't have as much experience in India, but definitely there are different advantages of being in India, which I felt like I had because I was born in India and not here. Like one of them was to get the amount of experience that I got being in India, because in India there is so much demand, and you know yeah, a lot of other, so we can talk more about that. Let me see. um Thank you, Atharva. Thank you, Love Rami. Abhishek Singh, hi. Leah, hi. Pavan, 20 hours. Yeah, so the job, actually, the schedule is pretty complicated because it's 20 hours of job, between 10 to 20 hours of practicum. Practicum is what I have to do as a counseling psychology student. So, practicum is basically going in different centers and providing therapy to clients. So, this year I'm going to do a practicum with IC Compassion. It's a refugee, it's a place where they give counseling for refugees, and that was my area of interest to work with. So um, we give therapy to refugees under the supervision of a licensed psychologist. So that is about 10 to 20 hours, but I would say like easily last year I would do 15, 16 hours. um, yeah, I think in my masters also I would do like a good amount of time. So say 10 to 20 hours with your practicum, 20 hours of your job, and you have at least 13 hours in lectures of coursework. So your week is pretty much full. And then obviously your coursework also requires you to do assignments and other things, and you're doing your own research at the same time. This is a PhD program, so you have to constantly keep doing research at the side. So much of that. And so it is a good amount that is taken. And how do I manage time? I don't have my charts here, but I use lots and lots and lots of calendars, which is in the other room, in the hall basically. But lots of calendars, lots of marking, lots of post-it notes, because if I don't keep a track of what I need to do, And here it's like nobody's going to come and ask you for a deadline. You have to get things done on your own, and if you don't do it, you don't do it. Like nobody's going to come to remind you. So you have to be in charge of your stuff. Otherwise, you can keep doing a PhD for several years. So I think a lot of those planning makes a difference. Psychology book for beginners, BA students. I mean, BA students, I think a lot of them use Baron and students use Baron and Mishra in, at least in Xavier's, that's what we used. But if you want to read psychology outside of psychology textbook, then I like the book on that classic psychologists, 50 classic psychologists. I also have a book which is, I don't have it here, but it's in India. On the book is called The Book of Psychology, which has information about different fields of psychology and different psychologists who worked on it. So I personally like those kinds of books. It has a lot of pictures and like a 2-page summary of a lot of work done by a psychologist. So I personally love that book. I don't have it here. I should have brought it, but yeah. Um, Thank you, Aditya. Yeah, I did a video with Aditya. You can post it on this chat, Aditya, for people to see. Although it's completely unrelated to this, to psychology, but Aditya has a tech channel and it advised me to whenever I need to get some phones. So his channel is also great. You can have a look at that. Um, Psychology internship. Yeah, Roslyn, if that's how I pronounce your name correct. Psychology internship, like in my masters I did an internship. One internship was throughout the year, which was in a school where I went 2 days, I think Mondays and Wednesdays. So it was morning to evening almost all the time. Not exactly evening, but like afternoonish. um Five, no, actually it ended up being evening. So 2 days of that, and then 1 day of any other internship that I could do. So at one point I did an internship at corporate firm, and one internship was in a coaching center where I took clients and also taught psychology. It was amazing. I love internships. Because then and in America my internship will be in the last year. So what I do through these years is called a practicum, because it's with education, with academics, and an internship is in the final year, which is like fifth or sixth year for most students, which is like a full-time internship, which is you go to a different place, maybe in a hospital or in a counseling center in university or something like that, which is accredited by the American Psychological Association, and then you spend the whole year over there, morning to evening, doing counseling. So it's almost 2,000 hours. um, it's amazing. Yeah, 20 hours per weekend and vacation, you can do more than 20 in order to manage your day-to-day expenses, which is true. But most PhD students don't end up like, I have a number of PhD students in neuroscience, or so, because we don't have to pay for tuitions, or we don't have those kinds of, so it's not a necessity. You can obviously make more money, but the thing is that those jobs will be like minimum wage jobs, like $15 an hour or $10 an hour, or those kinds of jobs, which definitely add your money if you do like a 20-hour job for $10 also per week. So that is additional $200, and that is additional almost $800 a month, and you can make about $2,000-3,000 extra. But the thing with PhD students is that summer is the only time they get to work on their research and other things which is not academic related. So most students don't end up doing additional jobs. But I don't know of anybody who does, but most people don't end up doing that, especially international students, because 20 hours can be on campus, then you can apply for a CPT outside and everything. But people don't end up doing that because in fact, for other, my department doesn't have this lab rotation and things like that. But for other departments, like I have a friend in neuroscience, and she has to go to the laboratory every day, and her hours, although it's 12 hours a week, supposed to be 20 hours a week, um, you know her intention is that I want to get the results. So she ends up spending sometimes you know long time thinking about it. Even if she's not working over there, she comes home, studies about it. So it takes time, and that's what my preference is also to. I do work for 20 hours, which is part of my assistantship. I'm doing career counseling currently. um, so for like STEM students, undergrad science students. But apart from that, I would like to focus on other things, including reading books, learning things, because this is the only time I get through the year where I can read something I want. Like I don't have that. It must be on that side. Yeah, there it is. I have a book that I ordered from, another university. So here you can order books like that for free. If there are some rare books, the university library will find that book out for any other university. So the one I got is from Pennsylvania State University. So you can do that and you can read all that. So to me, I think that is more important. You also aren't a psychology student, but I'm a commerce student. What's expensive MBA in US if you know anything about it? And there is GRE GMAT required in USA if one doesn't have any work experience. I think GRE, GMAT, all of these things depend very highly depend on universities. Like I know that a lot of universities have stopped accepting GRE for psychology because they know that it's completely unnecessary. But for engineering, I've heard that most universities still require it. So I mean, now there is a whole debate which is coming against these standardized tests, because do they really measure your ability? So you have to find out. You can find that out on each university. Maybe some university might not require you to do entrance exams, and MBA is not my field, so I'm not an expert with it. But I know that in general a master's course does cost up to 70 lakh rupees, and if you have a loan, then it can be like in interests above that. uh Okay, if you want to do criminal psychology, Divya, then I have oh my god, I have to text her. She was 1 year senior to me in Xavier's, and she did a forensic psychology from uh, MSU in Vadodara. So she did forensic psychology. Although I have two, three friends who've done forensic psychology, out of which she's the only one who's actually working as a forensic psychologist. Most other people end up doing advertisement or completely unrelated field where that degree you're not working as a psychologist. So I'm gonna bring her on my channel, make a video with her, and make sure that I include all those parts about what kind of jobs you get, because definitely forensic psychology is very interesting as a subject, but do you have those kind of opportunities in India if that's where you want to work? So yeah. um what is the duration? It depends. It's a PhD course, so but I believe 4 years of coursework and other things, and 4 to 5 5 years depends if you're child focused. Also, if you're child focused, definitely 5 years of your practicum and other things, because you need more hours for child focus, and then the last year of internship. So it's a PhD course. So yeah, adults may not need those many hours. Child focused people generally take more. Chan Chan, hi. Our DJ. What do you want MSc scholarship for? That depends. Like my friend did. I have to bring him also. I've already spoken to these people. It's just that it's hard to connect times. But I have a friend who did a fully funded MSc in computer science, and he has some great ideas. I was talking to him about it, so he has some great ideas on how he got a fully funded scholarship. So, and he comes from a very small town, so very exciting to know his story too. Oh yeah, US, UK, France, and Canada. I have made a video already on this. It's just that I have to upload it now. Um, you're in TY BA psychology. Okay, internship. You want any lead for internship? Let me think. I mean, are you supposed to find your internship on your own? Because in my college, one internship was given to us by the college, which was a school internship for 2 days a week. And the 1 day a week internship we had to look for on our own. And it depends on what your interest is exactly. What do you want to work with? What do you see? If you want to be a therapist in the future, what is the population you see yourself working with? And I think I mean, it's a task. Honestly, internship search is actually a task, and a lot of people even exploit that. Is like they'll be like, oh, you have to pay money to do an internship, which is horrible. That should not be the case. In fact, in America, I think I've heard of a number of people even fighting to get practicum students paid, because we actually do therapy, but just because you're not licensed, you don't get paid for it. So with this situation, I think in India a lot of people are exploiting it. So I would not recommend a place which exploits, which asks you for money to do an internship. But it depends. Find your find your choice. What is the population you would want to work with? And I would say personally go and visit these places and ask them, can I do an internship with you? As long as, but yeah, you need a supervisor too who is a psychologist. So as long as you find a place, for example, you can go to a school and meet a supervisor. In fact, if I was working in a school and if I had students who wanted to do internship with me, I would be very happy to have students because it makes a lot of difference. It reduces the workload, and all you have to do is supervise your students. And you know, supervision could be an hour a week with per student, and that student ends up taking, you know, 10 clients maybe for you. So I think you can personally go and ask people. That's what I did to get my internships. UPG or KC College for BMS? I got in both. I'm really confused. UPG I think is better because I mean, honestly, I'm not an expert with this, so I don't know. But I've only heard that for business and commerce and those things, UPG is amazing. Although KC College is also very well renowned. But my personal experience is I would like to be in a co-ed um, rather than a only girls college. So um, that's my personal preference. Not because I mean that was not my intention was not, but my intention was not okay. It's so cool to you'll have boys around, but I just feel like the energy is a lot balanced here, and I feel like in just people especially who go to only girls college, only boys, they are like they just get crazy when they go in a co-ed environment. So I personally feel overall an education is better when you have like a mix of people. Like I had a great time in St. Xavier's College where I could make more friends outside of my program and department and people from different fields because psychology only mainly had girls. We were like 29 girls and one boy in the class. So you don't have a lot of friends also outside of your stream, but through other friends, I have a number of friends who were doing like BMS, BMM, who were doing even BA, but in economics and those kinds of subjects. I think it was a good experience to have that sort of an interaction and also have professors who, I mean, I think Casey does allow professors who are males, but I think it makes a difference. So yeah. If you take up clinical psychology, is it mandatory to do MPhil? Yeah. That's very important, Khushi. It's a good question. Um, with a yeah, the thing with clinical psychology is I know a lot of people just end up taking it. It was so cool. But then immediately after we all graduated, I had a number of friends. Like so, we start off together in the same class in MA. 60 people, and then 30 people take counseling psych, and 30 people take clinical psych. And most of the people actually wanted to take clinical psych and some didn't get in, so they had to take counseling, kind of a situation. But I was always in that counseling path. But yeah, immediately after we graduated, clinical psychologists, the job options for them are also fewer than counseling psychologists. And this also was something it was my professor at St. Xavier's used to tell me, and which was absolutely true, because as a counseling psychologist you can end up working in a school, you can work in an organization. Counselors are needed in so many places, and then they don't necessarily need you to have a supervisor. Whereas in clinical, you know you might need, I mean, you do get hired in even big organizations, but it's like only if they have supervisors or psychiatrists. So independently practicing, I think clinic counseling is important. Otherwise you have to do 2 more years of MPhil or do a PhD. So it's not like, if that's what you want to do, yeah. But if you just want to work in a hospital and if you know that, yeah, this is what I want to do, then maybe clinical psychology is an option. Any books you can recommend of your field, the best book you read ever? I just spoke about that. That was a book of psychology. Uh, well, someone gifted me this book, which I've heard is a very nice, Far from the Tree. Uh, so this seems like a good book. It has a number of disorders and but it's like a fictional book. Yeah, it's so if you are interested in proper psychology, then we have textbooks of psychology, but fiction comes psychology, then these some books are really good. Yeah, otherwise, counseling books are good by Glading, Rosenthal, and um, I like the Abnormal Psychology book, which was by Butcher. I don't know if I have it here. Yeah, I gave mine to my professor, but I got one from here too. So that's a good book. Can I do bachelor's degree in average college? Do I need to pay for the seat? You shouldn't have to pay for a seat if you get it. I mean, bachelor's is um depends on what bachelor's you want to be, BSc, BA. But in Mumbai, at least, it's pretty much funded by the government. So unless you want to, you know what some people do is like they like, nee, I want to do from Mithi only, even if they don't have the percentage, and they pay like 5 lakh rupees for a seat. I don't think that's really worth it. So, oh my god, I have to make a video on this because, yeah, it's a lot. So you should not have to pay for a seat unless like, you're just, I would say that go to a college where your percentage matches. Maybe you get into Mithibai, great. If you don't, maybe you got into Bhavan's college, or you got into KC college or any college that you get in. I feel like it's just better to go that way. Okay. Do foreign countries prefer maths in taking admission for psychology? I didn't have maths from the eighth after the eighth grade because I had to choose like in my school it was like arts or science kind of a stream, and I was very interested in arts. I was very interested in psychology right from the beginning. So I decided to give up on science and maths at that time itself. So I personally think, I mean, I'm here doing a PhD, which is fully funded. So I don't know why they need, I don't think they need math. In fact, in America, you don't even need psychology to do a PhD in psychology. So, yeah. No, they don't care about your subject combo for 11, 12. You don't even submit those mark sheets. They only submit your bachelor's and master's mark sheets. Um, you have less percent in my 11th and 12th, so it's fine. Just get into a college. I feel like, yeah, I mean, percentage, yeah, it is a marker to get into a college. But just because the college percentage, oh, there was a very nice documentary that I saw recently on this whole college scandal for big Ivy Leagues. I mean, big celebrities going to jail because they wanted to try to get their students in a big college. And is it worth it? No, I think it's not the college alone. I mean, college gives you like a support backup, but in today's time, if you're good at what you do, it doesn't matter. And these colleges have like the super high cutoff because of this overpopulation and huge issue of too many students. But just because the college cutoff is at 99% doesn't mean that if you get into that college you will be a genius. Or not every single student from a big college is super successful, and not what was, I had made a quote like that, what was it, and not yeah, and there are people from smaller colleges who are super successful, so doesn't matter, it's fine. Does psychology need a lot of patience and a lot of theory knowledge? Tanvi, that's a good question. Well, I've been questioning that a lot because after coming to America for a PhD, I noticed that people here, like at least in my program, they are more theory focused. So they pick one theory and then, they read a little bit about other theories too, but they specialize in one theory. In India, my education was such that I was expected to know all the theories in depth. Personally, I feel like that was very useful. Here also, although my PhD advisor tells me that yeah, it is required, but people can choose to also like specialize specifically in one area. But I personally feel like knowing more theory just helps with clients. I mean, if you want to just be a researcher or something, it's different. But personally, with clients, I personally feel that if I was just focused on one approach, like which is say acceptance and commitment therapy, would I do as well? I mean, because some clients don't need that. Some clients are clearly, they have irrational thoughts and they might need CBT or REBT kind of an approach. So I personally believe that it's good. And patience, I would say, yeah, patience. I mean, it's not like a prerequisite that you won't get admission or you can't be a psychotherapist if you, or a therapist if you're not patient. But to get a PhD, you definitely need a lot of patience. When you see, yeah, FOMO. There's this FOMO which is coming up much more than it was in my time when I was in undergrad, basically when I was doing my BA. But now, because of Instagram and stories, and that has hit off so much that there's this fear of missing out, and in that people end up losing patience. They want things instantly. They want a boyfriend instantly. They want a cool, fun life instantly. They want to go out in their college, have the time of their life. It's like, as a college, 3 years of college are the only time in their life which they can have fun. So that's what people end up doing. But I feel like any profession to be successful requires patience. So yeah, if that answers your question. Will I be financially satisfied with psychology as my career? Depends. I made a video on salaries of psychologists, and I got great opportunities. And I think, yeah, salary scope was good in India, especially if you're competent at what you do. Then people are willing to pay you. They're willing to, big companies are willing to pay you the amount you want. Or even individual therapy sessions, which comes with experience. But if you're very competent, clearly, it's like, now this is a very general question. Now, if you ask me as an engineer, can I be satisfied? You can be and you cannot be. If you're an IITian, maybe you get like a 1 crore package, or like a 10 lakh rupee package. Not 10 lakh is still less, maybe say 30 lakh a year package. And maybe some people also get like a 1.5 lakh rupee package as an engineer. So it depends. Again, in psychology, I feel like scope is there, although, like, with what happens with a job like engineering is that most people end up getting jobs because there are mass hirings that happen for engineering. So 20-30 हजार का तो नौकरी मिल ही जाएगा. With psychology, um, there are people who don't get jobs in psychology at all, and there are also people who make in lakhs in psychology. So it depends on how competent you are, but I personally feel psychology has a very bright future, and more jobs are coming than ever before, even in India, even in America. So yeah, my one of the professors, who's an emeritus, so like a retired professor here, but he said that he has never seen so many job opportunities in the field of psychology ever in his life. And that's what I felt in India too. When I was doing a BA, not as many job opportunities as they are right now. What is the reason behind famous scholar doesn't matter? Okay, yeah, Prince, that's a good question. I would say that because I've seen a lot of students who get into big colleges like St. Xavier's also. Okay, or like, look at these universities in America, Harvard and Stanford, and there is like a back door where you can pay millions of dollars, or you're like a son of a president or celebrity or something like that. And recently this college scandal came out where you can get admission, maybe someone in this big college and they were like, oh yeah, we can give you an admission. I have known people who have taken admission like that and not done well in the college. They don't fit in with people because Xavier's has a cutoff of say 98%, and someone and you got in with a 50%, for example, which is very, very rare. Unless, like, for example, there are these quotas and you got in through that quota. But I've seen students struggle through that because the reason why the cutoff is so high. Because I was also very upset with that, but I realized that it's because they expect that kind of hard work from you, or that kind of labor. Maybe you're a genius, maybe you're a Mark Zuckerberg, and you're not fitting in the Harvard University's curriculum. So it's not necessary that just by somehow getting admission into these colleges, it's not, these people are successful not because they got admission into these colleges. I feel like a lot of students were successful because they were very hardworking. Okay, and anyways, whether and it's not necessary that you're hardworking in the, I felt like my father was a very hardworking person, but he was a musician. He worked very hard. Like, I worked hard in my education, he worked similarly in his music. So would he get admission in a big college? Not necessary, because he never paid attention on academics as much as he paid attention to music. So it depends. But I feel like it's the hard work among students. There's this one person I know. There's this one Dadaji who tells me he used to, yeah, when I was telling him I'm applying abroad for a fully funded scholarship, she's like, क्या क्या जरूरत है यूनिवर्सिटी में, ये वैसे भी बड़ी बड़ी यूनिवर्सिटीज, they take the best of the best students and then they say कि these became best students because they came to our university, which is not, they were already excellent students before, and that's why they got in the first place. So there is this very nice documentary also on Netflix on this college scandal, which is about this prestige that somehow people have, and they feel like, oh my god, if I go to Harvard, that's it, like my life is set. I know people who graduated from Harvard and are not doing the best of the jobs, and some people who graduated from just another college and doing a lot better. And there's a lot of research out there also which has found that to be in the top 30% of a small college is better than to be in the bottom 30% of a very big or like a very elite college. So um I think you should go where you fit in. That's what my perspective is. And this is just as a student, I'm saying, is going in where you fit in gives you an opportunity to excel in that, and you don't want to be among the lowest in a place as compared to being really good at what you do in another place. So it gives you a sense of identity, community. And just because some universities have a big name, also see they're older universities, they have other reasons why they're big names. And some universities don't have a big name, but they're equally good. I mean, they're very good universities. Just because they don't have this huge name doesn't mean it's not a good college. Okay. And one American professor told me this very, very, very nice thing, which he said, even in the smallest to smallest college, you will find that one or two teachers who have left all of their world and dedicated their life to the students. Be it in a very small town in India, be it in a rural place, there are people out there who are doing their best to help you and to make your life better. So to me, I feel like this whole prestige thing, yeah, it's really hard to get out of it because the whole world is about that. For example, yeah, I'm interested in counseling psychology, but say Ivy Leagues don't offer that. And at one point, I was even considering not doing counseling psychology because it's an Ivy League, a good college. But no, I mean, would you want to give up on your subject? Because what is more important, you know? For me, I was also 100% sure when I was in St. Xavier's College. In third year, you don't get psychology, not necessary that you get psychology, it's very competitive. So I had decided from the beginning, if I don't get psychology in Xavier's, I will shift to the college but continue with psychology because I want to be a psychologist for the rest of my life. I don't want to. And a lot of people ended up, if they didn't get psychology, some people ended up changing colleges, ended up becoming a psychologist anyways without Xavier's. And a lot of people were like, "Nee, I want that Xavier's degree from for my graduation. Subject doesn't matter." They ended up taking a random degree. Like they got into a sociology, so they'll take sociology and then. But then to be a psychologist, you need a BA major in psychology. What is more important to you, your career for the rest of your life or the name of the college? So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I'm really passionate about this topic because it causes a lot of pain because some people don't get into these. And what hurts me a lot is a lot of times people do get into these big, the best of the best Indian colleges, medical colleges, engineering colleges, and so many people complete suicide after that because they feel like shit, like I'm a nobody. Yeah, sorry for my words, but it's sad. I mean, instead of that, I would say work on your identity, if that makes sense. Siddharth Mukherjee, the gene found genetics. Okay, thank you. We are in class 12. I feel I'm going to lose it badly. That's a good question. You feel like you're working as hard as you never did. Lose it as in, what do you feel like? Do you lose control? I would 100% recommend speaking with a therapist if you can find someone near you. And speaking with a therapist helps because it's just anybody who wants to reach out um, and anything. I also do a lot of times. I encourage students to just come and discuss their academics, discuss their planning with me. I've worked with so many students who were just feeling like, oh my god, I can't plan things out, and I would work with them and work through that. Otherwise, I would say that one quote that really helped me was that I am doing what's in my hands and I'm doing the best in my ability. I cannot do better than best. If you're doing your best, results don't matter. As long as you've studied very well and you know how our education system is, sometimes things are not in your hand. Like, I was a very good student in my 10th standard, but just because of the subjects that I chose, like some people chose technical drawing and I chose French. In French, you can't get over a certain marks, and in TD, you can get 100 on 100. And that's why overall my percentage, despite me being like a topper in a number of subjects, overall my percentage was low. But did it matter? No, it didn't. Honestly, it did not matter to me because I knew that I studied, I did my best, and I had friends who just because they took TD would get like 20 marks more than me and end up like getting overall TD and then maths and science. art subjects don't give you those kinds of scores. So so many things like that which are not in your hand also make an impact on your results. So I would say that the intention for education and academic system was to get education, not to get marks. Marks were just a way of making sure that we're studying through the way. So if the focus is on getting education and not marks, I think then you start realizing that as long as I've learned what I had to out of this textbook, it's fine. Uh, should you do masters in India or foreign country? It depends. If you want to come back to India, I've made a video already on this UK, US, France, Germany, sorry, UK, US, Canada, Germany experiences of students, and in that I'm clearly saying that I have known students who've gone to London for a master, spent like 50, 40, 70 lakhs, and come back to not have a job in India. So, and then when you go to these agencies, they're like, yeah, you can do a master's in London, it's just 1 year, you just have to pay for 1 year. And then if you get a job, that if is very soft, but if is very important. They're like, if you get a job, you can work there and you can make all the money back. But the important question to ask is how many people actually get a job? What is this if? How many of your students, how many students from that university or international students who've got that job? I have not known literally anyone who've got that job after um, masters in London. So I am very bitter about it. So make sure that if you want to settle abroad or if you want to stay abroad, yeah, something like Canada, because they are so open to getting people right now in these few years. Maybe Canada, yeah, if you want to stay, if you plan to go abroad and stay there. But otherwise, if your intention is to come back and practice in India, 100% to practice there. That's why I did my masters in India. So I have I can be a psychologist always in India, and then I applied for a PhD because for me, uh, I didn't want to spend I didn't want to have huge loans on my head, and especially doing a subject like psychology, um, you know, or like a subject, it's not engineering where you are guaranteed a job or something. In fact, even in engineering, you're not guaranteed a job. So I didn't want to be in that situation. So I had decided if I don't get a PhD, I'm good in India. Let me see. Oh, okay. I'll drop my phone. How is organizational psychology? Organizational psychology is good, but depends on what kind of jobs you want. Good for HR related jobs, but not counseling related jobs. So, not as many opportunities afterwards. Okay, I just need to settle my camera in a way, or yeah, that's it. Okay, it's yeah, depends what you want to do in industrial psych. I didn't want to do it because I wanted to meet with people, talk with them. So yeah. Does it affect you mentally if you when you hear such trauma related cases? Yeah, Tanvi, that's a very good question. In fact, mental health and psychologists is pretty much at risk because they listen to, it's called vicarious trauma that you get out of hearing people's story or those kinds of things. So I think even as a student, as a student, it's much easier because firstly, you have a supervisor who you're practicing under. But when I was working as a full-time psychologist in India, yeah, and that was like you're seeing sometimes 8 clients a day, and it can be really, and that was COVID time, so people talking about their grief, losing family member. I think sometimes it um, really affects you. I remember one time when I was very upset, and I actually cried a lot. This was long before I graduated. This was one of my practicums because I saw the situation. It's like you feel so helpless. What can you do? For example, if someone is poor, child, blind, and orphan, you feel like, oh my God, what can you do? You feel so hopeless at that time. But in that time I always think of my intention. My father helped me learn this, and he used to be like, when I would come home really, so he could see that on my face that I look very sad, and he would just tell me that the work that you do must be very hard, but because obviously we don't also discuss clients unless it's with supervisors. And so, but he used to say that, if every doctor starts worrying about patients and oh my God, and starts crying that oh my God, what a bad accident, how will they help the patient? So, with your clients, that intentionality is important. So when I come back to my purpose and why I'm doing this work, it helps me, pull myself together. And I think taking breaks is super important, very, very, very important. Taking regular breaks as a psychologist, not overworking yourself, because a burnout can be really significantly impactful. How to become the best psychologist? Huh, that's a cute question. Um, I just personally feel like doing the best. I thought that for me to be a good psychologist, I need to study very sincerely and I need to do my work very sincerely. Whenever I did practicum, I never slack. I never do something to get it done. Even with my academics, I never study. I was not the student who actually studied last minute. I paid attention in class. I would go home. I would do extra research. I would go on YouTube, find out more about that. I would read book. I would read additional books. I would read research papers on Google Scholar. I did a lot of that. I think that is important to me, to know your content well and also keep doing the work. I've seen students complain about, oh my god, I have to see clients, I hate it. And I'm like, I was never like that. And wherever I went, I used to ask my friends around me who used to study with me, I was like, hey, I'm going to go and work in the prison. Are you interested? And a lot of people, not a lot, most people's response is like, it's too far. I mean, it's in Baikal and we live here. And with college and academics, we'll travel so much. And I'm like, I will. I was always excited. I used to go to Dongri, I used to go to Baikal. I used to go 2 to 3 hours away from Mumbai to get those kind of experiences. So I think just falling in love with what you do. Okay, colleges in India, Xavier's, and yeah, Xavier's is good. LSR is excellent. Um, I'm going to make a video with a girl from LSR on best colleges in Delhi also. Could you tell best colleges which offer psychology courses? Depends. BA, I just named some, and MA again. Xavier's is great. TIS is good. MU is good. SNDT is good. Thank you, Tanvi. No words to thank you. Just love the way you give time and answer our questions. Please keep posting. It's very helpful. It's my pleasure. Love, Rami. By the way, your brother is doing really good job singing. I genuinely appreciate it. He's got. Thank you. To become okay. Can we discuss our academic planning with you somehow, please? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's a good point. Let's. I was thinking since we've reached 25,000 subscribers, I'd like to start meeting with some students in small groups. And since it's summer, I'm just stay on my community. I'm thinking of sending a Zoom link to some students and just helping guide with their academics. And this is voluntary, so free. You don't. I mean, I'm not going to take any money, and it's just voluntary things that I want to do, because back in India I had a lot of opportunity for volunteering in other places. Here I would like to do it to students, so I'm very happy to meet with some students personally on Zoom. Maybe we can do a group of 5 or 7 and then talk about these things, at least for the next 2 weeks. So I'm happy to, if people want to come and speak about that. And not, it's not a community as in, like, when I type something on the post on YouTube, it shows on this tab called community. So I type something out. There is, like, on YouTube there are these different tabs. I can show you. One is videos, one is so one of them is community. I'm going to show. One sec. So I'm thinking of meeting with some students since I've reached 25,000 subscribers. I just never did that. So here, this one. Let me flip. I hope you can see. So this is community. This is where you get all the videos, playlists, community. So that's where I will post about maybe meeting on Monday. I have an APA conference coming up next week. So maybe we can meet this Monday, some people, in the night time for India and morning time for me. And we can do something like that. Or like a Sunday.